Përshëndetje motra.
Mirë se keni ardhur në Trime podcast.
I'm Leonarda.
I'm Lejla.
Welcome home.
Julie.
That was amazing, girl.
Thank
Welcome
you.
home. Welcome home already. Thank you, girls. And I feel really comfortable here.
From the Queen herself.
Yeah, no, it's from the Queen herself.
No. There's a long way to go.
No. Today, we've got a special guest. We've got the Queen herself, Mbretnesha Eyon.
Thank you.
I've manifested this for so long. When I first spoke to you on TikTok, I messaged Lena. I was like, oh, Lejla. I was like, you're someone who's my idol, but you have no idea who I'm talking to. Literally said to you, I want her on the podcast.
Yeah.
And here you are.
And I'm so happy to be here, actually,
you for
girls.
joining
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for
And
coming.
I'm so proud that we have young Albanian women doing so many incredible work in outside of our homeland, which is Albania and Kosovo and Montenegro and Macedonia. Because, like you know, I was almost born and lived all my life in Finland. We have girls in US doing the same thing. Then we have you girls in UK. As UK, I used to live in London 7 years, so this is really precious place for me. And for me, it's really important that, as I always say, when we have a voice, it's really important that we use voice for things that matters to us, which for us is women's rights.
Absolutely.
So thank you for having me.
Well, we want to say thank you because you came all the way from Kosovo to be
Yeah.
here with us. So thank you for just trusting us to do this.
And taking time out of your day.
Of course,
Absolutely.
I told you, I think we Albanian women, we are raised as a warrior, as I always say in everywhere where I go. Albanian fathers and mothers and our parents, they raise Albanian girls to be warriors and Albanian guys to be like a princess. And it's really sad to see this because that's what it is. Like how many in our households, in my household, okay, I know that my mom and dad did have education for both guys and girls. I mean, my brothers and my sisters, that we need to know how to clean and cook and stuff. But most of the time, we girls did everything.
Yeah.
Like I cleaned cars, I did clean houses, I did do all the household work outside of the house. So taking the snow out, which is the boys' thing because it's really heavy. I was 7 years old when I was pushing, and it was so hard. And because I did that because I really loved my dad, and I saw my dad doing this 2 hours before going to work and waking up 6 a.m. So
You feel that sense of
And I feel guilt if I don't
responsibility.
do
Duty,
that.
like
Yeah.
it seems to be a universal experience
Yeah.
for us Albanian
Yeah.
women and girls.
that's why we women, Albanian women, we are warriors. And that's why I always say, like, tell me your history. I will tell you how strong woman you are. And I still do this when people stop me in the airports and on the roads or wherever I am in restaurants, and they say like, Juliana, can we talk? And I was like, of course we can. And when they tell me like, look, this happened to me, because people know that I have spoken quite openly about my past, what happened 2010 when I was blackmailed, what happened to me when I was when I had abusive relationship, or what happened to me because maybe my extended family doesn't talk to me because of some situations, or they just, like you have told in your podcast, that they just extend you out of your community. What happened to me? Because I was so, like, I always say to people, strong women, no matter where you come from, if you have a strong voice, people, not men only, people are scared. What are you doing with that voice?
Yeah.
Where are you taking that power? What you gonna do with that power?
Absolutely.
And because people can't put us in the brackets or in a box,
Yep.
people are scared of you. Like, I always say people, and I have said this since I was 5 years old to my parents, I'm going to do my life. I'm not going to do your life. You have done your life. I'm going to do mine. Whatever it is. And people are like, oh my gosh, where did you get this strong mindset and courage?
Yeah.
And I'm blessed with courage.
And the thing is, often they think that those of us who it's just pertains to, for example, if you date outside the culture or if you're not heterosexual, if you're gay or whatever. But actually, there are so many Albanian women who, regardless of their relationship status, regardless of what their sexuality, that this is their experience as well of being isolated and being pushed away because they don't want to follow I guess, like
The
the
rules.
rules and
Yeah.
being shoved into these boxes, because we just don't want that. We
Yeah.
want a different life for ourselves.
Or they're ignored. They're completely ignored at family functions, at weddings, at parties. They're just completely ignored. They're like, oh,
know, it's
don't
sad-
speak to her.
sad,
She's
isn't
the
it?
crazy one.
Yeah.
She'll brainwash you.
I mean,
That's what they say.
I always have been black sheep in my family. I always been the crazy one, and I'm so proud. So everyone who hears this podcast, please be the crazy one. Please be the
Please
black sheep.
join us.
Please be whatever you want, because you have one life.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be too long. It's going to be max 80 years if you have, if you are blessed from the God, and if you have health. So just live your life,
Yeah,
and don't matter what other people say, because in the end, it's my life. I'm going to live this life. I always say to people, in 200 years, who's going to remember us? Our family? Our great grandkids? No. If you don't do some revolution like Maria Curie, who did she's a really famous chemist in 300, 400 years ago. So if you are not that level, or president of Kosovo, or whatever, you did something amazing thing in this world, and your name was written in the books, then nobody's going to remember you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
Exactly.
why we should care
Absolutely.
what our extended family think, or our family, or our friends, or if you go against odds, there's always an opportunity to live
Yeah.
your life as you wish.
No,
And I'm so happy I have done always that. It haven't been easy one, because let me be honest, I have had, if you count all the nights that I have cried myself to sleep, it's gonna be probably 3-4 years a row.
Yeah.
But I'm so happy that those bad situations that I have been, and my family have put me in, and community, Albanian community and media, they made me this one.
Yeah.
They made me this strong woman that
Yeah.
I am today. And that's why little girls and women and old women stops me and says like, oh my gosh, or men who says like, oh my gosh, my daughter is big fan of you, because you have this voice that she's listening. And I'm so happy that I have a voice.
Yeah.
My grandmother didn't have this voice. My mom didn't
Yeah.
take a courage to have this voice, even they are strong women too. But I have it. And I'm going to use it till I get into that grave. People are going to say that girl was a quite strong bitch.
We are all for leaving a legacy here.
Yeah.
For me, it's really important that what kind of legacy you leave.
Yeah.
What kind of footprint you leave in this world.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You can be, I always say to these women who don't have courage, and remember, I don't judge women who doesn't have courage, because sometimes it's really hard to have courage. Not everyone is like us, that, or like you or me or Leo, who has this courage and say like, okay, if they abandon me from the family 3 years and they don't talk to me, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was fine. I didn't talk to my family 2 years after some situations. But eventually they understood, okay, we can't manage Julie. She is who she is. We have to love her how she is. And then they understood, actually, they were wrong, not me.
Yeah.
I was the victim. So they should have been there when I was a victim situation. And nowadays they always say like, oh my gosh, we did so big mistake with you.
Yeah.
But they understood later.
Yeah.
And how many parents who are listening right now are doing the same mistakes
Yeah.
like my parents did. But what I can say to them is, listen to your kids.
Yeah.
Listen to your daughters who needs you.
Absolutely.
Listen what they need from you. Your duty as a parent is to be there no matter what. But how many Albanian parents can't do this because of community?
Yeah.
I know. I can't say for my parents. I know that they went through, oh, fucking hell, sorry for my language, that they went through a lot during the situation I was. Probably a lot of people said to them like, oh, because my dad is really a war hero, and probably he have heard a lot of bullshit towards him saying like, oh, your daughter this or your daughter this. But I think as a parent, you need to know that your daughter is the blessing from God. And your duty as a parent is to guide her, help her, and listen to her.
Yeah.
Not make her live a life that it's not hers.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Before it's too late, because at the end of the day,
How many women we have as suicidal
Yeah.
Yeah.
situationships? I have this messages every day on my Instagram, on my TikTok, saying, "Like, girls, oh, my sister killed herself. My mom did this. My best friend killed herself." Do you know how many times I cried during the day?
Yeah, and the thing is we receive really similar messages and actual like long, lengthy stories. And when we profile the stories on our TikToks, people will say this is a lie.
Yeah.
No.
You've made it up.
Yeah, you've made it up. This
Whoever
doesn't
says
happen.
that open the eyes and actually go a bit outside of your inner family and listen to the girls who have to say something they can find not far away from their own circle.
Absolutely.
No, 100%. Well, thank you. That was a great introduction.
Oh, okay,
And
that
this
was
is who
introduction
Julie is,
already.
Yes.
So this was Julie. So.
Yeah. I wanted to go a bit more deeper because I've seen you on TV. Everyone's seen you on TV. Big Brother, interviews. Your Instagram is just always popping onto my Instagram. I always see all your stories. Hey, Niers, përshëndetje. Like, I love it. And your morning workouts. It just gives me so much motivation. But behind all of that, behind the cameras, behind all of that publicity, who is Julie behind all of that?
That's a great question. Not many people usually ask this. If I think deep in that question, there's a little girl who wants to be just better, stronger, more clever, a girl who dreams always big. I always was like, since I was a little girl, because I was raised in a family where we are 6 siblings, so 5 before me, and I have 3 big brothers. So in our community, boys are always boys. So I had to fight since I was like 5 years old, 4 years old, because my big brothers were allowed to go out. Then my big brothers were allowed to go in the evening to their friend's house, or my big brothers could drive motorbikes. That's why I drive motorbikes, because I was always, since I was a little girl, I was like, as soon as I'm 15, I'm going to buy the bike and I'm going to be better than them. So for me, it always like better than them. So I had this drive inside of me saying like, boys doesn't have anything more than I do. And I understood this when I grew up, and I understood that I'm working 3 jobs. I did my medicine degree. I work in a hospital. I work in banking. I work this. I work that. And then I saw one day I never forget this. I was traveling from Peking or Hong Kong. I was traveling to Australia, and then in 4 days I was in 5 different continents.
Wow.
And I remember I was sitting in the lounge, VIP lounge in one of the airports, and I was thinking like, and I actually start crying because I was like, oh my gosh, here are you, Juliana. I'm 28 years old. Back in the days I was 20. Now I'm a bit more. But still beautiful.
Definitely.
You still look 28.
So I was 28, and I was like thinking to myself, like, imagine my grandmother, my grandmother, even my own mother couldn't travel. She drives car and she travels now alone. But 20 years ago or 30 years ago, our mothers couldn't do this.
Yeah.
So, and I couldn't do this 15 years ago or 20 years ago, because my dad was like, oh, you can't travel because people are going to talk shit about you.
Yeah.
So here I was, investment banker, portfolio manager, who was managing millions of people's money, wealth. And I was traveling 5 different continents. I was like, Juliana, you made it. There was a moment, and I started crying. I was like, for me, that was a situation where I said to myself, Juliana, thank you for being strong. And thank you for achieving these things. Like I always say, people, and we, especially girls, when they stop me, I was like, oh, you have to have your independence. Financial independence is everything. Everything starts when you have your own money. Absolutely. So whoever's listening now, whatever you are doing, doesn't matter. You can go clean toilets like I did when I was 8 years old. But you make sure you have your financial independence, and your life starts from that moment. Absolutely. Because nobody can say to you, you can't do this.
Absolutely.
Because you can, and you will, and you do it. Absolutely. And then you go back and you say, like, you see, I did it. So exactly. That was the moment, a little girl who dreams big. And I think I came to this world for a bigger matter. I think I wasn't born here just to do some party, education, raise a family, and then die. I think my voice, I have this voice to do so much differential in this world, and I'm gonna do it. And I have done it now 20 years, and I'm gonna do it. I'm not gonna stop.
No, I have no doubt. I have no doubt.
So I have this strong will that I have inside of me, which is, I think I was blessed from the God for this will and this energy and this strong voice that I have, and I'm not going to stop, because I irritate some people. I get messages when people, or most of men actually, not women, but there's a few women too, who says like, oh my gosh, you talking about this? Oh my gosh, this and that. I'm like, yes, I'm talking. Do you like it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put the volume up, because you can listen to me more. And my face is going to be all over the TV. So you like it or not, you're going to see my face.
Yeah, exactly.
So enjoy it.
Absolutely.
No, that's amazing. And you touched on that. As a little girl, you started to fight back, and it sounds like you became a feminist really, really young.
Yes. So I always say to people, feminism, it's so sad. Like feminism word is so powerful.
Yeah.
But nowadays, the media is putting feminism in a bad bracket.
Yeah.
It's not.
It's like a dirty word.
Yeah, it's not dirty word. It's the best word that we have in this world, because when we have gender equality or human rights, which we don't, we are not yet there, people would love the word feminism. Feminism is something that you are fighting for the rights to be equal no matter what, to your father, to your brother, to your sister, to your mother, to your, no matter what. So till we have a good example, I'm just going to tell you an example that I just talked with someone a few days ago. I said, like, do you know that I was in the airport, because I travel a lot, so I talk, most of the talks is in the airport.
You basically live at the airport.
So I was talking to an older lady, and she told me about her past. And what we understood in the end of the conversation is that because there have been thousands of women who have been killed, who have been raped, who have been executed, because they have raised the voice, which we today have this right to do this podcast. So you live alone. We have a right for our body. Do we want abortion or not? Or do we want to go to work or not? Or do we even have... do we want to have a kid? That's all about feminism. Today, we are sitting, I'm traveling, I'm educated, I am driving the car. I'm traveling because women before me sacrificed everything. So girls in the future have this position where we are. So we have to always thank women who sacrificed everything because of feminism. And I am proud to say I'm a feminist, because I'm still working and fighting for the gender equality. So my daughter tomorrow have all the rights that my son is going to have.
Yeah.
Because they served in the white plate as soon they are sons in this world. But girls, no. We have to fight.
We have to fight 10 times
We have to
harder.
fight. Like everywhere you were. Like I have been working in prestige workplace. Even I was a woman, I was a best salesperson. Still a man had better situation than I did, because he was a man. But I had to work 10 times more to earn the same amount what he earned.
And I think a feminist life is it never stops.
It never stops.
Till the
It's
day.
not, because it's I say this all the time, that being a feminist is your way of being. It's something that you practice in your every single day. Every decision you
100%.
make is sometimes rooted in that need for that equality and equity in society. And when that's your way of being, you don't know any different.
Yeah. And once you become a feminist, when you look back at your old life, you look at yourself and you're like, how was I so brainwashed?
And it's brainwashed. Nowadays, people are brainwashed because I just told you the media. Media is like making this word so bad. So people are like, actually, they are like, okay, is this good or bad? And most of the people think feminism is bad. It's not. It's the best thing that ever happened in this world. And we're going to do this work no matter how much hate we get and how much we irritate people who watch us or who doesn't watch us or hear us. I don't care.
Well, yeah, because we're not fueled by the hate. We're fueled by the need to create safe spaces for women. We're fueled by the need to create equality and equity for women in society.
And we care. That's the root. We care about other women just like we care for ourselves.
Yeah, definitely. And I don't think you could be like, I always say to people, like, if you don't take care of your body, mind, and soul, which we are created as a human, we are created in 3 different parts of body, mind, and soul. So your physical health, your mental health, and your emotional health. If you don't feed every day something to these 3 parts, you are not going to be mentally, emotionally, physically a full person. And for me, it's really important that I every day do something for these 3 parts. And as a feminist, as I am, I always say to women, because I work a lot with women, that you have to feed yourself positivity every day.
100%.
You go to the gym, you feel good. You go home, you read a book, a capture, you feel good. You're mentally. You go and eat some chocolate like I did today in Harry's in Harrods, and I was like, this is my spot. So it's small things in the daytime. It doesn't need to be buying a house. That's a big, huge investment. But you have to invest in your quality in your life. No matter what, no matter who is having your back, you have your own back.
Absolutely.
This is really important.
No, absolutely. I completely agree. I think you talk gold dust to me and Lejla, because everything we think about and we say, you're basically talking about. And it's so validating for both me and Lejla. And something I wanted to touch on is International Women's Day for Albanians is huge. I know my mum, Dita Grove, like she celebrates it like the Holy Grail. She'll rather celebrate International Women's Day than Mother's Day. Like we don't celebrate Mother's Day.
Really?
We celebrate International Women's
celebrate
Day.
everything.
Yeah. And I wanted to hear from you, how important do you think it is to really remember Albanian women on this day? And what can we do more to actually remember them and talk about them? Because International Women's Day is not just about the great, colourful, like the good and stuff.
The music and the food.
Yeah, it's not just about that, but it's also about the struggles.
People have misunderstood the International Women's Day. So first of all, if we see the history, International Women's Day was a day when they did rebel. What they don't have, not what they have. I totally understand in Kosovo, in Albania, or in Albanian community, they put themselves beautiful, they go out and have fun. No. International Women's Day is every day. Women's Day is every day. We have to fight every day for the rights we have. International Women's Day for me, as I said in other interview in Kosovo, that for me it's a time when I rebel and I see back what they have done for us and what needs to be done for our new generation coming after us.
Yeah.
And what's missing there. So International Women's Day is not a party day. Yes, from my partner, I want everyday flowers. At least he sends every Friday.
Yeah.
But it's not once in the year. It's every day.
Yeah.
And for me, it's really important that whoever listens to our podcast understands that International Women's Day is every day. It depends how you treat yourself and how you invest in your Women's Day, which is every day.
Absolutely.
No, 100%. No, I couldn't agree any more than that, honestly, because we see our mums, they look forward to International Women's Day.
Yeah, because back in the days they had only,
Yeah.
they thought that one day is for them.
Exactly.
No, they have every day.
Exactly.
Like it's been now 2 days that I've been in London. So I have taken myself even alone to the restaurants, to the pubs, to the concerts, because I think I deserve it. For me, it's every day a Women's Day.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I treat myself as the most highly worth person in this world because my soul lives in this body, in this mind. So it's really important that you understand you have to invest every day in yourself.
Yeah.
I totally understand why our moms, because they are brainwashed. Remember, we can't expect them more.
Of course.
Because they are educated.
Yeah.
Like I always say to my mom, like sometimes I've been rushed quite hard to my parents. But sometimes lately, because I'm now a bit more than 28, I'm 36 actually. I've been really hard on them because I was like, why you didn't do this? Because when you're raised in a Finnish culture where I was raised, Finnish people, they are highly educated. They have really open-minded. They have the best in the world, the education. They have best in the world, human rights, women's rights. And for me, I was raised in a community, Finnish friends, which when I went to their home, everybody went in sauna naked. It wasn't like problem sexuality. Like me to go with my grandparents and my dad naked in the sauna. That
makes me like my throat close
yeah.
up. Like,
But in Finland it's normal.
Yeah.
And I was raised in that kind of, so sexuality, manhood for me was just the other side of womanhood or vagina.
Yeah.
So it's just opposite to create a family. So for me, God just created two different genders so we can have family and we can generate new people in this world. So it's nothing bad or nothing good. It's just normal thing. So when you come to Albanian community, like I was 5 years old when I understood how babies are made. And I remember like today, oh my gosh, it was so shocking. So in schools, in Finland schools, in kindergarten, so they tell you like, Juliana, if somebody touches you, you have to tell us because that's your body, that's your right. If you don't like it, you don't
We're
allow
the same here in the UK.
Yeah. So I understood that babies are not made as my mom told me, but they are made because dad have some nice thing that it's in mom's vagina and you'll be created as a baby. And I remember I ran to my dad's office. He was working that time, something outside of the, we had 2 buildings and he was working there. And I was like, Dad. And he was like, what? And I was like, oh, now I know how I'm made. And he was like, what? And I remember he slapped me so hard on my face. And I was like, what did I do wrong? Because when you grow up in a different community, like a Finnish community, you don't understand what is okay for Albanians, what is not okay for Finnish people. And I remember like today, and I was like, whoa, where this came from. For Finnish people, sex word is normal, or sexuality. But in Albanian community, I'm talking 30 years ago, it was a big thing. Even today when I talk in interviews about sexuality, people are like, oh my gosh, jag nisi kjeme full per sexualiteten e njerëzve. I'm like, yes, because somebody have to. I'm not, nuk jam sexologe, but I know a lot of things because I read a lot of things. And we have to just take this taboo out and we have to break the taboo. I'm not saying that go and do whatever you please. I just say like whatever people to 18 years old and above people do in bedroom by their laws, what they have put the rules, they can do whatever they want. Just don't touch kids and other stupid things what is legal.
Because sexual abuse is something that is not spoken about.
It's a big thing in our community. So when I used to work as a doctor in Kosovo, I did my international student exchange like this 1 year in Finland university, and I went to Kosovo in Pristina, and I remember how many girls came every day to do like checkups and stuff. And when I asked them like, what happened to you, because for me it's normal to go twice in the year, even you don't have a boyfriend, to control yourself, like to do a checkup.
Because it could pick up anything. It's not just about
it's not about the abuse.
I think the Western culture when it comes to sexual health is so different.
It's so different. Oh my gosh. And they were actually telling me like, I was raped and I was doing this and this, and I was like, oh my gosh, have you called police? Do you mind if I call? They're like, no, it's gonna be a big thing in our family if I tell. So we have to break this taboo and we have to break this more. There's no more. There's just situation that you have to handle as an adult, as a person who has courage and knows her worth. That's a human rights.
And it's always us, justice.
And it's always us as women that is carrying the morra.
Man nuk kanë morra. I remember when I was a little girl, so 30 years ago. So like I was telling, like we can't judge our parents because they didn't know how better to raise us. They raised us as best as they could. So I was quite hard on my family when I had my highly educated degrees and I was traveling all over the world and see different cultures. So when I was younger, I used to say to Mama, why you didn't do this? And I was so angry. It didn't come because I was angry on me or my parents, because I pretend my parents are the most educated, well-traveled human beings, and in my eyes they are like the queen and the king. And when I understood that they're just normal human beings who is trying to do the best they can to raise kids, then I was like, oh my gosh, so shocking. So even today I feel so sad. Sometimes I've been so hard on them because they didn't do better. They didn't know how to do better. So, but our generation who have seen the Western world, who have traveled 100 countries and seen the world, we have to raise the kids the best way we can.
Yeah.
Emotionally, mentally, physically healthy kids.
Yeah, and it's so interesting that you're making this point about, you know, how you feel towards your parents and how our parents of our generation raised us, because I've been fighting, I'd say, for the last 20 years for my own lifestyle choices.
Yeah.
And it's only now, I'm 35, I'm going to be 36 in 2 months. And it's only now through like family circumstances for really poor ill health in close family members that my mum is now coming around and saying, for the first time in my life, saying to me, I just want you to be happy and safe.
Imagine.
Yeah.
This is every
I fought
parent.
20 years for
Yeah.
this, and it gives me goosebumps thinking about
Yeah,
it.
I
But
have a goosebump
the thing
too.
is it shouldn't take near death. It shouldn't take chronic illnesses. It shouldn't take poor health.
But do you expect
for that
anything
to
else from your
happen.
mom when she didn't have a parent?
Yeah, no, and this is where I talk
You
about
have
how
to
much
understand.
compassion I have
Yeah.
for my mum
Yeah.
and how much patience I
You are
have
so
for
much
her.
higher than I think we are so much higher than our parents because we have a good Western education, culture. We have seen the world. We can't expect them more. Even a few days ago, like I was telling, because we are popping from other things to other things. I was just saying, like when I was a little girl, I remember when my dad said to my brother, who is only 1 year older than me, said like, oh, you can go to this party. We had this party in our school and it was from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. And I was maybe 9 years old and my brother was 10. And I remember like today, my dad said to my brother, who is Valen, said like, yes, you can go to that party. But when I asked, because we had the same place, because we were in the same school, so we both had to go there. It's like, no, you're not going. And I was like, why?
Yeah.
And I remember, I was like, why? And this strong feminism girl, I remember like today. And do you know what I did? He locked me on the room, and I jumped out of the window, went to the party, came out from the window, slept in the bed, woke up in the morning and said like, Dad, I went to the party. And I
At
had
least
so
you were
much fun.
honest. At
Oh
least
my
you were honest.
I wouldn't have dared as
No,
a kid.
for me,
I
it's
wish
really
I'd had
important.
that.
For me, it's really important to be honest because I told my dad, whatever you say, I'm going to do whatever I'm going to do. But it's not your right to allow men or boys to do that, which is my brothers, and not me.
Yeah.
So I think my dad understood really young age that Juliana, you can't put her in a box because I have two big sisters and they were always put in the box.
Yeah.
And
Obedient.
and it's so sad to see not only my sisters because they are really happily married and everything, but I see so many extended family where they are in a marriage where we know that their husband goes with others,
Yeah.
or they have a second wives, or they are not good husbands, but because of the More family, they do it. So my dad said to me, More ti jemi shku party, but my brother wasn't More. Listening to that, what you said.
But also, our culture does such a great job of putting women in a box.
Yeah.
Because women in our culture don't even get inheritance. So even
They
if
do. The new law is
Yeah.
that they do, and it's only 4% in Kosovo that women get heritage. But things are changing.
Yeah,
because
well,
we are talking about.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, because Leah's
Yeah.
really passionate about this topic,
Yeah.
actually. She's always been
I
quite
am
passionate
too.
Yeah, no,
about
I'm,
the inheritance.
I'm so passionate because for me, I live more of a faith-based life than a actual Albanian cultural
Yeah.
life, and because my faith says I can get inheritance, I fight for it so much. But not even because my faith says, but why not? Like,
No, it's you are
Like,
you.
I'm someone's daughter. Why not? Like,
yeah, but it's something that you should have.
Yeah, and it's a
not
legacy.
choice.
No,
it's you
exactly.
can have that. So. I did a story a few days ago about this situation that we are talking about. So a lot of girls have written to me and saying like, oh, even when I got like piece of land or house, my brothers are now against me and fighting, saying like, no, that belongs to me. So what I did, maybe I was 18, 19, so 20 years ago almost. I said to my dad, we were sitting, so in my family, we have once in the year family meetings. Back in the days when we were living in one under one roof, we had like every month, knowing the finances, what we are trying to do, what kind of situation we are going to have in our family. But now everybody's married, have their own family, living in their own roofs. So I have been doing that 20 years. So, and I remember we had this meeting and my dad was talking about the land and about, because we have heritage quite a lot from our grandpa. And I remember like today, I was like 18 or 19 and I was like, and I listened to my brothers and I was like, listening. I was like, what? And I'm going to say this in Albanian because it sounds so much better. Një luk qojët nëse merte ma shumë. bab, nëse ja jep një lugë çajit më shumë, vllavit tem, I'm not gonna say the name, e nuk ma lën mu barabart, kur s'ka me të fol. Kur? Jo për kur gjë, jo që unë e du çat lugë çajit ose çat pjesën e njëjtë, but because unë jam çika jote.
Yeah.
Unë jam e vladi jët, unë jam me barabart me vllaznit e mi.
Yeah.
Dhe i kom thonë vish 1 milimetër me alo, ma shumë vllavit tem. Se sa mu, kur s'flas. My dad, I remember, he was like, oh my gosh, then.
Yeah.
Thash, jo për kur gjë, we have brought up in Finland. Finland, most of the people have 2 daughters or 1 daughter. Because I don't know why, but there's not that many male boys.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So interesting.
So, and for us, it's normal that girls gets the properties and the land and everything. And in our family, because we are 6 kids, and my 2 sisters are married, they see this like, no, the guys have to have it. I was like, if this happens, I'm gonna extend myself from this family because I am worth as much as my brother, even Mustamashum, even more. I don't want to be rude, but I think we girls, we are capable of doing so much more than men.
So much.
And we have the
absolutely.
superpower that we even have a yet. We give birth a new human being, which only women can do. And if you see actually our Albanian family, always the girls are taking care of the parents.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like I see my sister. So I have amazing brothers. Don't get me wrong, but my sister, my sister's name is Dete. So she has 2 daughters, and she lives next to my parents in Finland, like a few blocks away. And she goes every day to my mom's to drink coffee, to drink morning coffee. She takes her to the hospital. She takes care of her. She takes care of the paperwork. She calls to the doctor, takes the analyze, talks to anything that she needs to do, operation, this and that. And sometimes I say to myself, like, even I said to my mom, because when she's like, oh, djemte mirë, it's like, yeah, who's taking care of you? And she's like, Epo, you see?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not because I want to make men smaller, but it's in their DNA. As soon they are married, as soon they have kids, they are not, I'm not saying everyone, but most of the Albanian males or men are more driven to have their own family, have their own friends, and they forgot sometimes even the sisters or their parents.
And the duty still remains on us.
Yeah.
And the duty is still
Yeah.
on girls.
And that's why they always say chikat jam për prind.
Yeah, they have this word saying in Albanian language, djemt për emër, qikat për zemër, and so true.
Yeah.
And that's why I always say that, because we are pelidhum këtë punë për pasuri. That's why I always say like it's so important that we girls get our part
Yes.
in wealth when it's divided, because we are as valued as the men in our family or
Yeah,
boys.
exactly. Because
Yeah.
we're all the
We are
same.
born already with that.
Yeah, exactly. We all bleed the same. We have the same DNA.
I think we are more than them, but yeah.
I agree
Yeah,
with Julie.
yeah,
I think
yeah.
we're
No,
more-
no,
we're not equal because
No, I don't think that
my
we're
brother
equal
doesn't
at
go
all.
through the same
Yeah.
thing that
No.
I
Yeah.
did. My brothers don't go through all the shame and this and that what I have done. My brother didn't go through the situations as a woman. They never have probably left the job because there was a sexual harassment in the job. I have done twice that.
Absolutely.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Once from my boss and once from my
I
colleague.
completely agree.
And I can't say enough that I never go out 2 a.m. to run because I'm scared.
Yeah.
I'm scared. So I can be raped. I can be sexually assaulted. I can be driven
Run over by a
run
car.
over by a car. I can. There's so many risks
Punched.
as a
Anything.
woman.
Yeah.
Anything can happen.
So
And
many
then people
risks.
say like, "Oh, we are equal." No way.
We're
I'm
not,
so
and,
much more than you.
and this
in
is
so
why I
many
couldn't
things.
agree with you more, Julie, because we are expected to do so much more. We're held to this unrealistic standard. They want us to accept less.
Yeah, expect.
Yeah.
They want us to be small. They don't want to give us our dues, but we must do these ridiculous things just to be seen and heard.
Well, I mean, boys in our culture are born kings, and that's how
That's
they're
why I said
treated.
princess.
Yeah, they're,
Princess treatment they get.
and they get the privilege from the first breath they take on this earth. They're privileged.
Yeah.
From the first breath
Not
a
in
girl
our culture, in
takes.
every culture.
Yeah,
Islam culture,
every
definitely.
culture, every culture.
Even in
Christian
Western, in
culture.
white
Yeah.
Western culture, you see
Yeah.
that. It's
Yeah,
you
always,
see that.
because that's
That's
the
why I said-
patriarchy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
how
patriarchy.
misogyny feeds off it.
Yeah, our culture is, we're still learning everything. We're still a bit more, a lot of our traditions are still backdated, whereas Western world are sophisticated in how they make a woman feel less
Yeah.
and a man feel
Paychecks and everything
you know,
else.
paychecks and, you know, all of that kind of stuff. The biggest positions men get, and the only reason they get is because they're men. That's it.
But we do have in our culture, because I was brought up in Finland where the family united feeling doesn't exist there. So sometimes when I see, I mean, I love Finnish culture, don't get me wrong, sauna and everything else. But, and I love my education that I have had there and the mentality there. But what I really respect in our culture, so if we talk all the negative things, we have to say something positive too. I love that we are so Albanian community. We take care of each other.
We say this all the time.
And actually, I love how united we are.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, good example, I was in Luton Airport and there was an Albanian guy with a small kid and they were like, they noticed me, you know. They were like, hey, can we hug? I was like, of course. And they're like, how are you doing? How is the family? Who Finnish person asked me how is my mom and dad? Because he talks to his mom once in the year, which is the Christmas time. When I talk to my mom 3 times in a day. So the united, even we have a lot of hate, we have a lot of good things too in our community. And I love being Albanian.
Yeah, of course. I mean,
but we have to change in the bad things.
And that's the thing, when we do this work, right, as women, as feminists, just because we want to change the narrative and we want to make it safe for women, we're automatically labelled as if we hate our culture.
No,
we hate our
culture.
And
We
it's the
want to
complete
make it
opposite,
better.
because if we hated our culture and our community, we wouldn't be doing this.
Yes, it's so true.
We would have left this work completely alone, and we would have never done anything to try and make it better or to try.
We would have
bring
just
some
started a
progression.
podcast just for the sake of
just for the
it.
sake of
We wouldn't have actually spoken
And this is
about.
hard work, by the way.
No,
This is not easy work.
no, it really
Because
isn't.
people think that, oh, you're just drinking coffee there. And there's a lot of things in backstage that you don't see, guys.
No, definitely they don't. But the Albanian culture is so beautiful. We always speak about it. It's the collectivist mentality that we've got. We love looking out for each other.
Yeah,
we
definitely.
really do. And we value kids. We value education. We love our music. We love our food. You know, all of this
Our
stuff.
traditions.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We have
We
deep
love
heritage.
it. Really. But talking about this, I wanted to speak about women supporting women and how you see it in our culture. And how important, because I think it's so important, women supporting women. I really do. Men can be our allies, but women supporting women, we can only take each other up higher and higher.
Have you, I'm going to ask you back a question.
Oh, I'm in the hot seat.
Yes, you are. Have you ever seen a man who doesn't have a bro code?
No.
You see?
No.
When women, we don't have a
Girls' code.
girls code or sister code.
Yeah.
And this is sad in women's life. When something happens too bad to a woman, there's most of the comments or most of the situation. E ka lyp, that e ka dosht. And I hate this word.
Ka çukru.
She must have deserved it.
I remember 2010 when I was blackmailed for, it wasn't even sex tape. Nowadays I laugh to it. But back in the days, a rising, I was top of my career as a model. I was all over the like media and billboards, my face. And I remember I was young. I was 21 years old. I didn't know anything. I didn't even have any experience. I never had to kiss a boy in that age yet. So my first boyfriend was 22. And when 21, when this happened, it was so devastating reading the comments when women had the worst comments from all. I had like 3,000, 5,000 comments every day coming to me saying like, "Kjo kurv, kjo kështu, kjo kështu." Like when I heard about your situation that you have been through with when we talked with Leo, I said like, oh my gosh, you've been through so much. And I'm so sad to hear that need to happen to you. But somebody have to be the first. So the other girls, my girl, if she decides to be lesbian, she's going to say like, Mom, I want to be like Auntie Lejla. Or if my girl says like, I want to be a next president. I'm going to be a go girl. I'm going to support you. So there's nothing better than supporting each other.
No,
and
I
it's so
couldn't agree
important.
more. Yeah,
Unfortunately, our own community doesn't.
yeah,
do that.
and it's really sad. I mean, we see it's the misogyny in the comments that
Yeah.
we get. Actually, I would say sometimes it's equal to men and women.
Yeah.
I think
Because
more
we
women.
have so in our community, women have so much internalized misogyny, and of course we have to look at it from a different lens
Yeah.
because there's a reason why women
Yeah.
become victim to patriarchy and
Yeah.
misogyny, and it's not the same reason why men choose to perpetrate. It's completely
Yeah.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it really is so sad and disheartening to see.
It really is, and it's women do it out of fear, and also because they don't know any other way, and they're scared that if they think differently, they're gonna be isolated
Yeah.
from the
Of
whole
course,
community.
Of course,
And-
I just told you, strong
Yeah.
voice makes always
Yeah.
people scared
Yeah.
and threatened. Like
Yeah.
I threaten men all the way, all the day, all the hours. How I walk,
I think that's just
how I
being,
talk.
just being.
Like
is a
yesterday,
threat,
I was
yeah.
in this restaurant and I was making a joke about because my voice is strong and he was like serving something and I was like, oh. You want to have my number? And he was like, oh, no. I was like, yeah, you can have my number. Like, it was just a joke.
Yeah.
But, automatically, when a woman is strong and
Yeah.
she does, or something that I was just crossing the road and there was a old guy with their, like, almost, like,
With a stick.
yeah, with the stick, but he was like not well walking. And I was like, oh, I grabbed his arm and I was like, I'm going to do this. And he was just like looking at me like, what's happening?
Chakok, you
Yeah.
And he was like
God.
maybe 75 years old,
Yeah.
old man. So,
Yeah.
old man. So definitely. But like we talking about women having women's back. Like when you wrote me, actually it was my assistant who saw your message and she told me like, Juliana, you have a girl talking about some podcast. And I was like, oh, let me know. So when I replied to your message, I said, hell yeah, I'm going to have this girl back. Hell yeah, I'm going to
thank
go to the...
you.
I have like maybe 50 interviews pending. But for me, it's really important, the cause. First, cause, why we are talking, what we're going to say in this podcast, and who we targeting.
Yeah.
Because I have 50 pending interviews, but all are them like, oh, the big brother, the strong woman, the this and that. I don't care.
Yeah.
I care to make a change in this world.
Absolutely.
And if
Yeah.
this is the place, then I'm going to take this interview and be here and talking with you girls.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, we're really
Thank you so
privileged that you
much.
came on this journey with us
Yeah.
because we're so much at the beginning, even though we've
Yeah.
achieved so much in such a short time. We're still at the beginning of our journey. So to
Yeah.
have so many powerful women in the community come forward and trust us this much to come onto our platform for us is just like, wow, I think
I trust you
100%.
on you girls. I know you're going to do a lot of differential like things in our community. And
Thank
I'm
you
so happy
so
that you are
much.
talking about this kind of things.
Yeah, I mean, we had to because
Somebody have to.
someone has to.
had to.
That was first me in this
But I
thing.
was seeing it a lot. Like, you're saying, I heard about your situation, and I see it like, what was the point then?
Yeah.
What was the point?
I mean, you're going to have a lot of hate from different people, but I always say if you don't have haters, you're not doing anything.
No, there's something wrong.
Yeah,
'Cause I always
think
say,
for
like-
as long as someone said this to me recently, and it stuck with me. She said, another Albanian woman who's really strong and powerful. She said,
Okay.
for as long as my community hate me, I know I'm doing something right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she said, when they start liking me, I know I'm doing something completely
Yeah.
wrong.
Yeah.
I always say if I don't make people feel like what is she?
Yeah.
Where she's coming from? Why she's doing this? I know that I'm not doing anything. If I don't make them feel like something is like giggling or making them angry for some topics, I know that I'm not doing anything.
Yeah.
So I always say, even to my boyfriend, I said the other day, because he's new in the media and he doesn't want to be a famous person, but unfortunately he's my partner, so he's going to be all over the place. And I said to him, like, if you don't expect 30-40% to be hate comments,
Yeah.
you are not great.
Yeah.
And you are my boyfriend, so you're Juliana's boyfriend. So people are
gonna
going to
get
hate
more.
you.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
what this man have done to earn Juliana, to be the part of Juliana. So people are going to talk shit about you. People are going to lie about you. People are going to send stupid comments saying like, oh my God, Juliana has few boyfriends before you. Yes, I have. I'm 35. Of course I'm going to have experience.
You're not a nun.
Yeah.
No, I'm not. But like it wouldn't be normal if you wouldn't have few relationship that you have learned from them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then you already found the boyfriend.
Yeah.
And hopefully he's going to be the last one.
Yeah.
And I'm going to die hand by hand and create a beautiful family with him.
Yeah.
But this is the case.
Yeah.
We shouldn't hate.
No.
But even we hate, we have to have haters at least 30%, because we know that we are not yet there, so people understand what we are talking.
Yeah, 100%.
And in our community, we are really fun.
We love our haters.
So keep hating us.
we actually love them because they send us comments. We don't really reply to any. We don't really care. We just laugh about it in our messages. So anyone trying to send a hate comment, know that
We
you're being
laugh at
laughed
women,
at.
yeah.
So
Actually, I screenshot sometimes them and put it in my stories in Instagram, because my stories,
Yeah.
they go like 50, 60K per day, like the stories, and I make a joke about like some other days a guy sent me a message saying like, "Çuş duran burriyet."
yeah.
Oh my God, we have that all the so the favorite in our comments, kushmertu.
Oh, and then I put a comment there. Ljumaj për vit se ko kujt ja ciron vesh donatësh do det. And he was like, oh my God. Probably he thought like, I'm going to be mad. But I was just
Yeah,
like,
Exactly,
exactly. But that's what they expect. They're expecting you to be mad, and then when you're
And
not,
scared and
Yeah.
then back down.
yeah,
no,
exactly.
why?
Yeah.
Because we are like, this is the change. This is the difference on being full capable of a woman.
Yeah.
We know who we are, we know what we are, and we know what we are capable of. Why some stupid person who, because the haters doesn't hate us, they hate because they are not in our seat, because they are not the level of maturity we have, or level of intellectuality, or level of doing something changes in this world.
They're projecting.
Because
Absolutely.
they are talking by the hate, because they are hating
They're
themselves.
insecure.
Yeah.
Insecure,
Yeah.
and it's so sad to see
Yeah.
these people
Yeah.
who hate on us.
is.
Because I always ask them, "Are you okay?" And they're like, "Oh my gosh, why she's asking?"
Yeah.
Because I know he's not in a good place.
Yeah.
Because I am.
Yeah.
I'm doing my own
Yeah,
thing.
Yeah.
exactly. No, exactly. And while we're talking about podcasts and talking and speaking out, media plays such a big role.
Yeah.
It really does. From your point of view, how important is it for podcasts, videos, interviews, whatever it is? Because I know in Kosovo there's loads of interviews,
Yeah.
but podcasts and speaking out against women, it's something that sometimes is drowned out, and actually a lot of people don't get to hear.
Actually, we
but how
do have a
important-
podcast or a program which is called Zona.
Yes,
Zona.
yes.
It's really nice. I love it. She's my friend, the person who does this, and they are doing incredible job. Okay, sometimes it can be too harsh. She knows, because I have left a comment saying like, "Come on, girl, don't make men look so bad, because they are not." But do we have to change them and make them better? Yes, we do.
Yeah.
We have to do this work every day. But don't come in a place of hate towards men. Because I don't hate men. I love men. Thank God we have men. Or thank God that they are equal to us. Or like sometimes when I'm sad and I just call my boyfriend, I'm just like, "Oh, babe, I had so bad day." And he's like, "What's going on? Tell me." So, of course I need my boyfriend. Of course I need my father. Of course I do love my brothers. I love my brother who is Spartak. Spartak is such an incredible man. And he came to Big Brother to me, and he actually gave me this ring. So we do need a masculine energy, but we need a masculine energy who is equal to our feminine energy.
We
And
need
this is the
allies.
difference.
We need allies.
Definitely.
We want them to be allies.
I don't want to raise a kid without
But that's why I always
Yeah.
say this work can't be rooted in hate of someone else.
No.
It has to be rooted in the love of creating safety for women.
and safe,
Exactly.
safe place to be raised as you
Yeah,
want to be
absolutely.
raised.
Exactly.
If that's a gay, if that's a kid from different background, race, color, whatever. And I think that's the beauty of this world. People are different.
No, I 100% agree. Now I'm going to put you in the hot seat
Okay,
because I want to know about your brother.
Okay.
She's been waiting.
And I thought that's 3 years ago.
It doesn't matter. It could be 100 years ago.
Okay,
And I was
okay.
talking-
Humour me.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I just wanted to know how you felt going in, and really what you learnt about your own self. What you learned about your own self and how you came out of it. Like, were you a different person?
That's a good
Did you
question, actually.
surprise yourself? Did you reflect on yourself and go, Julia, tie haloma forza
Yeah.
che come no?
Yeah, 100%. So, good question, first of all.
Thank you.
My dad, so I got the offer to go in Big Brother it was June. But I didn't want to go first because I had business and everything lined up, and I was like, "Oh, I'm a big mess right now. I can't go inside of the house 4 months. Like, come on. Or 3 months and a half. In August, it was first week of August, we went to Albania with dad and mom for a dinner. And I made sure that I come across really intellectually, like they understand. But my dad and my mom never have looked Big Brother, and they never watched it. And my dad is a really, really big war hero. So for him, highly educated, good family, good manners, good everything. So he doesn't want to see his daughter or son in Big Brother because you can be put in a really hot seat. You can come across really badly. But there's a people who have gone in Big Brother with the big fame and they go out with nothing.
Yeah.
So jag kan morfturen vetes men ifall minura they trash their own career to zero. So my dad knew this, of course, because he had been reading and so on. Even he never watched the Big Brother. And I told, and my mom is such a kind person. He always, like, she's a person, like, she always have my back, whatever I do or whatever I say that I'm going to do or I'm going to make a decision for some things. My dad was like, no, my daughter doesn't go to that kind of creepy, shitty, like, reality show. You are not my daughter if you go. And I was like, because my dad is, like, a person like military man, you can imagine how strong will, but I probably have the
Stronger will.
So I always say to him, like, look in the mirror.
He raised you.
You raised me to be the strong person. Anyway, and I said to them, look, mom and dad, I was 31 then. I'm 31. I know what I want from my life. I need to get into this reality show because I need to tell the world what actually happened to me wasn't what media put the picture in it, but I want to tell the truth, how I felt, what happened to me, and how much money I have paid to not publish that thing. And actually, I was in a first relationship, and I was like, sorry for my word, fucked my life because of this situation that shouldn't happen to anyone. Anyway, my dad didn't talk to me like 2 months because of this. And I remember one day before, it was like 1 hour before getting into the Big Brother, I called my mom. I was like, Mom, do you like my style? My mom was like, my daughter, I wish you all the good in there. Remember, you have a family outside. Remember, you have a big community who is going to talk shit, whatever you do there, or you're going to talk good, whatever you do there. So make sure that you have in your mind, whatever you do, it's going to affect thousands of people outside. I remember this word from my mom. My mom is really, really, really clever woman. So I didn't talk to my dad because he blocked me in the WhatsApp. And I said to my mom, say hi to dad and I hopefully will make you really proud. So, of course, I went to Big Brother thinking that my dad never watched any episodes or any Prime. Nothing did I know that he was 24 hours in front of the TV.
Because called cheek. That's, you know.
And I know he loves me a lot, but he never have said to me, I'm proud of you, like most of the Albanian dads. So I was 4 months inside of Big Brother. I didn't know that I became this icon for women and young girls and old women and boys outside of the Big Brother because we didn't have any information. So it was really hard every day when I woke up. Because remember, when you are 2-3 months inside of the one house or this room and you have hundreds of cameras, you forget there's cameras. So you start to be yourself. But in good situation, I am myself there. I was 100% myself there. So I started forgetting because your mind doesn't work the same way how you work outside of Big Brother. Inside of the Big Brother, you start forgetting the names and numbers and situation. So I thought to myself, because I read some things about Big Brother, and one psychologue Ekish Boni essay that people's minds start forgetting where they are in one place when they don't get this kind of receptor from outside. So I remember second day in Big Brother, I wrote in my wardrobe, because we had our own wardrobe, remember, Juliana, why you came in: discipline, consistency, and resiliency. Those are the only words that I wrote and that I remembered. So every time I opened my closet, I said, like, Juliana, remember where you came in here. You came here to tell people what's strong Albanian women are made of. It's intellectuality, is the hard work that you have made in your past, is the schools that you have done, is the situation that you have been through. In everything that you are today, you have to tell to the cameras. So yes, it was hard, but the biggest proud situation, it wasn't when I was runner-up. I was the first woman runner-up in history for VIP. Big Brother, but it was the moment when I came outside of Big Brother and I see my dad crying and I see my dad like with the big hands and I was like, what happened? Because even now I'm starting crying because I remember he squeezed me because I'm still the youngest girl and he was like, oh chica, okay, and I was like, Bobby, are you there? Like I remember like this moment and I was like 31 vjet kum punu, më fal shpesi kale. 31 vjet jum shkollu, kum bo mjekësin, kum bo 2 fakultete, kum bo master degree, kum punu punat më të vështira, djemve qikave. Dhe në fund unë ka duhet me jeni Big Brother, që ti mund të tregu sa krenore jemi mu. And I remember crying and dad was crying and then my mom was like there next to me and because of course I understand my mom gjithë ka dosh një familje që we understand each other se nona është gjithmonë që i hek më shumë ti. And I was crying, I was like, bab, do thotë unë 31 vjet, ka do të më ardh Big Brother që ti më thon mu që unë jam krenore me ty. I always wanted validation from my
Do you want
my
some
mom.
tissues?
No, fine.
You just made me cry.
Yeah, no, I've
and
got
I love a good
goosebumps.
cry on the podcast.
I've got goosebumps.
Për mua ka qenë shumë e rëndësishme, like nothing is more important than have a validation from your parents that you actually are worth something. E familje shqiptare harrojnë, they forget to do this. And I know my dad is a strong man. He's a military man. He's been to wars and he is a good face for how a beautiful Albanian family should be. Like, he always taught us, like, zban me vjedh, you can't steal, you can't be a bad person, you have to help people, you have to have a hand for everyone, you have to educate, you have to be a strong woman, and you have to do this and that. And I am who I am today because of my parents. But I am who I am today because of my grandparents, who are not biologically my grandparents, but they are Finnish neighbors, old couple who raised us too, because my mom and dad was working 2-3 jobs back in the days. And I am who I am today because I have Finnish spices in it, because I was raised there, and it was amazing. I just can't stop smiling because I remember Dad crying.
Yeah, what a beautiful testimony for you. And you're saying like you are who you are today, and you've become a huge role model. That is no doubt. You've become a huge model, and you've paved the way for other young Albanian women. I want to know who your role models are, though, because you didn't have those role models, right? We didn't have those representations in the media. So who were your role models to make you this strong? Yeah, so I always loved books. So when I was a little girl, I love architecture, I love history, I love people make changes. Like when I talk about human rights, I always take an example, Martin Luther King. He's just an icon to me as for human rights. For when I talk about women's rights, there's so many other women before me who have done changes. Imagine we have Beatrice Teuta, the Queen Teuta, who have done changes. So for me, role models are women who have every woman, Albanian woman, for me is a role model, because Naina Trime, just like on your podcast, every Albanian woman have Trime inside. You just have to find the fire in you. Unfortunately, some find later. I found it 5 years old because I was fighting for my rights in my own household. So I always say, if you don't fight in your own household, you can't fight outside of your household. So most of the times, because I have 2 extra sisters, which I call Donika the Dona. They are my brother's wives. And I remember when I was younger, my sister-in-law Dona said to me, like, thank God we have you in our family, because you have changed our family to be open-minded. And that means so much to me. And now, that was like 20 years ago when she said that. So in 10 years ago, some other people said to me, like, oh my gosh, because this happened to you and you came out and spoke that openly, and now I can go and talk to my family about this. Or after Big Brother 3 years ago, so many women have come to me to say, like, because of you, I know now what I need to do with my daughter, or how I should treat my daughter. Because we all have shitty things that happen to me. And remember, the stat says every 3rd woman in Kosovo and Albania, in our community, have been raped or sexually assaulted.
that means that
Yeah.
the percentage is crazy.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying this without doing the analyzing the
Research,
numbers.
yeah.
So everything that I say is actually based on
Facts.
facts.
Yeah.
And I know I'm gonna have a lot of hates because of saying this, but that's the truth.
Yeah.
Truth hurts.
We know,
unfortunately.
though, we've done the research. There's a reason why we're doing this podcast. There's a reason why we're doing all the work that goes behind it. And it's because we see the desperate need to have these safe spaces for women in our community. Before, a lot of the work that women like us have been doing, they didn't exist. And that's why I say you are now a role model, but there weren't many women before you who did this. And
Because they didn't have a voice. Even
Exactly.
they did. Because I can count now 10,000 women who have done better than me in the past. But I think those women who have been killed because they've been running the marathon, or that woman that have been first politician woman in our community. Because I know I'm going to have the same journey as that woman in politics one day. I know I'm going to have a lot of hate. Det që e kon mis Finlanda, mis Kosovo, po vjen po na jap neve man, po na shet man. It's not that. It's people who vote you, people who have voted me in Big Brother, people who are going to vote me in politics too, they want my voice to be heard through their voice, through my voice. So their voice to be heard through my voice. And that's what I did in Big Brother.
Yes, because they see themselves in you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The young girls see
And
that.
nothing-
Finally, they're like, oh my God, look, like we
Yeah.
can do it too.
And nothing is better than actually being true to yourself. So you have seen me, I speak like this outside of a podcast or interview. So people know that Juliana is that person,
authentic.
100 cameras, 4 months that I was the same person I'm outside. I haven't changed anything. I was myself in Big Brother. I'm outside the same person, original me, authentic. With my good and bads, because nobody is perfect. I have bad things too, which sometimes I can be too aggressive and angry and this. But because I have so big will that I want to see the best way the situations to be. So yeah.
So you mentioned a little bit about politics.
Yes.
Are we allowed to know what's next for Juliana?
I haven't made a decision 100% because the election just was a few months ago in Kosovo. But I'm planning after I have done few businesses, quite international successful businesses. I see myself all days to run after things that matters to us women. So I'm going to be in politics. That's true.
Wow.
And if that's for sooner or later, but I know that I'm going to be in older age.
Yeah.
In politics.
You have
Because
a clear direction
yes,
of where you're going.
I think that for all the women who is listening, you have to have a strategy.
Yeah.
I said this before Big Brother, because when they asked me, "Oh, you're going in Big Brother," I was like, "Nah, I don't know," because we weren't allowed to say that. But 1 hour before getting into those doors in Big Brother, I had a big list. People who was in the room with me, they remember this because they were doing makeup and hair. I was writing everything, strategy. Because without strategy, if you don't have a plan, that's 50% of the big project. Is 50% is the plan, and 50% is actually executing the plan. And for me, everything is written down. Even today, I have a big whiteboard in my flat, and I write everything, all the cost living, what I'm going to do, where I'm going to travel, what I'm going to say, where I'm going to say, what interview I have, what business I'm going to do, how much it's going to cost, where I'm going to get the money. So everything is the plan. Pa plan program, nuk is success. So I know after the kids, after I have done my family, I want to concentrate on running the things that is important for me, which is human rights and which is women's rights, which is making Kosovo safer place, better place. When we think about education, when we think the healthcare, those are two most important things in the country. Then it's of course the finances, which is the business sector. And we can't, it's a household. If you don't have health, if you don't have good education, if you don't have a good work, you can't manage your household.
Yeah.
Same as the country.
Absolutely.
Well, we're just going to have to watch you. So we're talking about your future. But what are the changes that you would love to see in the future for our Albanian community and generations that are going to come after us?
First thing that I wish every girl should do is to educate herself as highly as she can, because you secure through that financial freedom, so you can do whatever you want in your life, and nobody have to say anything towards you or to put the finger on you. It's really important that we as a women have each other back, which is not what we always have. It's really important that we women understand that girls are equal to boys, and through my voice, through your voice, through every woman's voice, we have to do more this kind of work and to put out there in people's face that, look, feminism is a good word. We all have to be feminist, and you should be proud of it. What means is to be equal to your brothers, equal to your father, equal to men who works with you in the workspace, or to the lands that we have to heritage from our fathers. And this is the reason why I'm going to politics, because for me it's really important that we work and we use our voice for a better cause, and to leave a better space when we one day we are not anymore in this world, for our daughters.
Leave a
but
legacy.
what we need to do as a community is actually come together and raise, because we have to raise the sons to understand that girls are equal to you, which we don't do that.
No, I completely agree. And for every girl, boy, husband, father, mother, sister, brother, doi, arj, whoever, anyone that is watching, what is your final message to them?
Okay, the final message would be this: no matter who you are in this world, no matter what you do, there's always someone who's going to judge you. So even nobody sees you when you touch your cousins or you do bad things to people next to you, women, girls in this case. Remember that you have to have something inside of you what says, what are you doing? This is not right, because that girl can be your girl, your daughter. That girl can be your sister. That can happen. That. So my last message would be: remember to be a good person. Remember to respect your sister, your daughter, your wife, your mother, because they get 10 times harder life than you as a man. And that's why you always have to be supportive, loving, respectful towards any woman, not only to your mother and your sister and your daughter, any woman in your family, in your community, in your workplace, because we go through a lot.
Absolutely.
That's my message to all the men, all the boys, all the sisters, all the arj doi who's listening to us. Remember to be better, because life is hard for our women. Life is hard to be a woman in this world, because we get threatened, we get so much bullshit towards being a woman. So at least in our family, we want to feel safe. And please make us a safe place to live next to you.
Juliana, thank you so much. Thank you for being part of a movement that's paved the way for other Albanian women and young girls.
Thank you for having me. Hopefully I see you next year even bigger and
Inshallah.
talking a bit even like any kind of situation that women go through, not only Albanian, but all the women. And I hope you all this, first of all, health, which is the most important. And hopefully your voice is going to be voices for thousands of women who go through really hard situations.